Good afternoon. My name is Claudell Clark, President and CEO of the Better Business Bureau over Southeastern Virginia and Northeast North Carolina. And welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner. Today we have with us Heath Wynn, Regional General Manager of Hall Automotive. Good afternoon, Heath.
Good afternoon.
Good to see you again.
Yeah,
man.
good to see you too.
A great friend and sports connoisseur and a good colleague. And we've just been doing this show to just highlight the parallels between sports and business. So we know you've been very successful in the car business and sports lover, fellow Washington fan. And I just wanted to talk some more about with you and also appreciate the things that Hall Automotive does for the Better Business Bureau. Yep. Well, just tell us a little bit more about your role at Hall Automotive and I'll kind of go from there.
Well, first off, thank you. Glad to be here. It's always good to see you. I've been at Hall Automotive for 8 years now.
Okay.
I'm a regional general manager with the company. So we've been in Hampton Roads in business for over 30 years. We actually have stores in northeastern North Carolina in Elizabeth City. Okay. We have stores in Virginia Beach. There's 9 stores total now. We have various brands. We have Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Honda, Toyota, Ford, Hyundai.
Didn't realize you guys had Ford also.
Yes, we do. That's the store down in Elizabeth City.
Okay. Well, good. We talked before we kind of got started getting warmed up about retention and recruitment and the talents you guys need. How have you gotten better over the years at recruiting good talent to sell these cars?
So we actually have a recruitment department within our organization. It's part of the HR department. They're up on the 3rd floor in our building. And what she does is she strategically, looks for certain demos to reach out to for employment for technicians, for sales, for HR department employees, office employees and such. And we try to target those people to get them to come in for an interview, because if you just run a blind ad, you get an office staff person applying for a sales position, or you get a salesperson applying for a technician position. But if you can find how those groups behave and interact, then you can market to them directly and draw those people in. They tend to interview better, and you find out up front that they're a better fit and a better quality candidate for the job. But most importantly, all of that aside, what's most important to us is the culture. The culture of our business, the culture of our company, how we grow our employees, the opportunity we provide them from within the organization for promotions, education, all of those things. That's the best retention tool you can have. It's creating the type of culture that says, hey, listen, we want to bring you in, we're going to train you, we're going to educate you, and as you grow within our organization, there'll be opportunities for advancement. And the younger generation seems to be more responsive to that than they are to a flex work schedule or more money. They want to know, where's the path going to take me in 3 years or 5 years? What's the opportunity going to be?
Wow. So that's got to be great for retention also, having that plan, having that path, having that the way to elevate those person and enrich them. It's just got to be great for you all keeping your workforce. How's that gone with so much competition out here, so many different dealerships, people, different pay packages? How have you retained that workforce?
So we've done a pretty good job with that. It's a difficult task, right? One thing we're also good at is we may hire somebody for sales, but find out they're not right for sales. But we may uncover another talent. So we have internal postings throughout our entire organization for different jobs opening up in all the various departments. So everyone can see that. So if someone's in a sales position and then they realize that, hey, I'm not really cut out for this, but the office clerk job may be something that suits me better, they can go in and apply for that position and transfer and stay within the company. So having that as a tool has helped with retention. I think the other thing that's helped us with retention is from a sales perspective, because that's where your highest turnover is usually in your sales departments. Longer hours, tougher schedules.
Tougher responsibility in some cases.
Yeah. To train and to educate. So we have a training center. All of our new hire salespeople go through the new hire process, and then they go to the training center. They're at the training center for a week. We have an on-staff trainer who teaches them all about Hall Automotive, our sales process, etc. Through that class, the corporate executives come in and speak, our legal counsel comes in and speak, and we make sure that we're a part of that process to show every employee that we value them as an employee. One thing we do is the division president for Hall, he actually goes out after someone's been with us for 90 days, and he does a meet the new hires. And he goes and meets every new hire in the company and spends a few hours with them, asking them about the company, what they like, what they don't like, what they think we could change. Those are just some of the things we've done to try to improve retention.
Right.
And it seems to be working.
Great people, man. That's amazing. This onboarding is this heavy onboarding and heavy training. What about professional development, right? So you recruit this team, and you got your competition, you got your schedule, and you're kind of going through that. How do you get better, right? You get them on board and you're keeping them, but what do you all do to get better? So
one thing we do to get better is we have sales training in store.
Okay.
So the sales managers who are, in regards supposed to be a better salesperson, better trained, right? Better educated.
Experience. Yeah.
Yes, they train the salespeople one-on-one in the store. So we complete one-on-ones in our dealership on a daily basis, where the sales manager comes from behind the sales desk, goes to the salesperson's desk, sits down with them, and goes through their prospects and their leads and the emails they've sent, the text message they sent, and they take the opportunity to coach them up and say, hey, look, here's an opportunity right here where we may have missed, a key word in the response to the customer that may elicit more conversations between you and them. And to lock it back into football per se, every great play in the NFL, the team on one side is celebrating, the other team on the other side has the Surface tablets, and the coach has the pen, and he's like, do you see right here where you missed?
He threw that interception.
Yeah, exactly. And same thing, we're tying it back to sports like that.
Got it. So that's really neat how you do that. Tell us about how Hall defines success, right? A person may say, well, you sold 100 cars, or you had a great sales year, but how do you really define success? How do you know you've had a good month or a good year or a good quarter?
So we have annual projections. We roll out those projections and we try to say, hey, look, these are our goals for the year. This is what we're going to run after. And a successful year would be, those projections plus, right?
Exceeding standards.
yes. That's the bare minimum. Anything above that would be a good job.
Good. And going beyond that with the meeting and exceeding standards, how do you guys kind of reward and incentivize and keep persons hungry to go above and beyond?
That's a good one. So we have a lot of contests. We actually have a cruise contest that is running this whole year, the whole year of 24. So we're winding down with this, and we have some tight races. We have one for the sales manager category, the general manager category, the service manager category. So everyone's in a contest against their peers, and we'll take the top performer from every position in the dealerships, and they win a cruise.
Wow.
So little contests like that, and each store may have its own way. So like some stores order the WWE Championship wrestling belts. If you're the salesperson of the month, you got the belt. And I'll tell you what, it may seem small, but getting that $28 belt from Amazon Prime in the meeting in front of your peers, there's nothing greater.
Priceless.
Yeah, you feel like you just won an Olympic gold.
So we this defined success and talked about, obviously we all know how successful the organization is, but we all have challenges, have ups and downs, have some volatility. As I was speaking with somebody else the other day about, how do you overcome challenges? How do you get that sales manager, that sales team, how do you get that entire dealership to bounce back from a tough quarter, a tough year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one thing you have to do is first identify where your inefficiencies were, right? So you identify those, then you come up with a plan of attack. And then you say, guys, this isn't going to be easy. It obviously wasn't, and that's why we failed. And one motto we kind of stick to is everything that you want in life, success-wise, goal-wise, is on the other side of I don't want to, or is on the other side of I don't feel like it, right? So we have to get past I can't do this or I can't do that or that's too difficult, so we can get over to the things we want, which are achieving our goals and surpassing expectations, right? So another motto we have is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. We drive that home, and we have a process, we stick to it. We have reports upon reports, and they're measured daily. And really, you can walk into any store and any of the sales managers would tell you what gets measured gets paid attention to. And the company kind of lives by that. And that those, key sayings and phrases live within the dealerships. They may be invisible, and they may be spoken maybe once a week or once a month, but they're there and everyone knows because it's part of our culture.
Okay.
It's what drives us.
Right. Yeah, you talk about getting even more acutely into this. You talked about like numbers and analytics and disaggregating all that data. Tell me a little bit more about that. You see that in sports all the time. You talked about the tablet. In baseball, you have the shifts, and based on these percentages, has that really ramped up significantly for you guys in terms of measuring that data and allowing that to help you be successful?
Yes, we do. I measure the data daily. We have what we call KPIs, and the KPIs come out every single day.
Okay.
The KPIs are in an email written by me or my counterpart, and they come out to the sales managers, general managers, and everybody reads them. And it's basically a synopsis of the previous day's activities, business, and what we're looking to do today, and how far we are behind. Okay. And it's constantly measured, so we can improve.
No, that's amazing. As we all know, you're down these major boulevards or highways, you see so many other dealerships who sell the same brand. So tell me a little bit about competition that you can share, and how do you just view the competition in today's landscape, and then how do you go about attacking the competition based on your all strategic plan?
So the competition is stout. There's a lot of great dealers in this market. They run great businesses with, they have great staffs. So you say, yeah, look, we all get the cars from the same place. We all pay the same thing for the cars. So what's going to make a customer come do business with us versus them? And this is what we tell to our staffs all the time. The only difference is us, the people, the leaders, and the salespeople and the managers, and our knowledge of the vehicles, our knowledge of the business, and the customer experience that we provide when the customer interacts with us, whether it's digitally, whether it's in person, whether it's over the phone, that we are able to answer their questions, provide them the information they want as quickly as they want or as slowly as they want, answer all of the important questions, and give them the type of service that they're asking us for. That's really the only way to set yourself apart from the competition. We all have the same, programs from the manufacturers, et cetera, and they're all well qualified, good operators.
Wow. Some of these, as we move forward, a little bit more personal questions to you as a business leader. In business, you have strategic plans, you have your numbers, and you know what you need to do, but you have to have the courage to do these things. What is giving you the courage to kind of rise through the ranks at Hall in your automotive career and to let the organization know exactly what it needs to be done, even when it's tough conversations and tough decisions to be had? What gives you the courage to do these things?
So I've been fortunate enough since I've been at Hall Automotive. I have great leadership. I have two really good bosses who provide clear expectations and goals, which makes it easier to do my job because I know exactly what's expected of me, right? So as a leader, I make sure that I provide the same type of clarity to the people that I manage, the general managers of the stores. So that, tabled with how hard it is to run a business, right? I guess, you have to wake up with the tenacity every day, and then have the technique to apply that tenacity, right? So I personally find myself motivating myself constantly, right? So I get up in the morning at 5:30, I go to the gym, I exercise, I go to work, I'm charged mentally and physically to do my job, right? I listen to TED Talks, I listen to podcasts, I read books. I'm trying to feed myself positivity as much as I can because it's so easy to be negative or to get down on yourself after you have a bad month. But you have to look at the positives and you have to look at the negatives and say, hey, what do we got to do to fix these few things over here? I'll take it back. When I was a general manager of a store in Hall, what I did one month after we had a bad month is I went to the dry erase board, I drew a line down the middle, and I got all my management team in there. And I said, we're going to write down all the positive things we do on one side of this board, and we're going to talk about them. And we did all that. I said, and then on the other side, I have a list here of things that I found that were inefficient in. I'm going to write them up, and then I'm going to ask you guys what those are. And they all said, okay, great. So we went through that and we did that exercise, and we realized, talking about it as a group, hey, you're right, we are inefficient in that area. That is something we need to work on. Instead of just taking them in there and just writing all the inefficiencies on the board, right? Because after I do that, I'm going to lose them 5 minutes in. They're going to say he doesn't respect us. He's not interested.
Because they've
in what
already
we have
been
to
beaten
say.
down already.
Right.
You know, by the tough month.
Right. They need to be reminded of all the things they do right and say, hey, we do all these things right. We just got to add a couple more things to that. Let's jump over here to this side of the board and identify those.
Right. Well, that's amazing. You know, the courage part of it and having that in the business, we have to have that here in our business to, you know, make tough decisions on a monthly basis and work with that. Tell me a little bit more about what you think would be advice to persons who want to get into car business, who want to get into car business management and upper management and upper leadership like you. You know, what advice do you have for persons who are looking to do something like that as a career?
I think you said the correct word. It's a career. It's not a job. You have to have the mindset that it's a career. You have to have the understanding that when you walk into that dealership to get the job and you see the young guy standing up there who just parked his really nice car and he comes in his suit and you see him and you see 30 seconds and you say, well, that's what I want to be. But you didn't see the 10,000 hours that that person's put in working in that dealership after they've closed with customers, working in that dealership on a Sunday, you know, reading the sales books and taking every available training class they can take and doing everything they can to grow themselves, you know, personally and professionally. You have to understand that those things take time. And no matter what career you choose, automotive or business, however, whatever path it is you decide to walk, it's going to take time. You're going to have to grow personally and professionally to develop, to make the kind of money or make the, you know, strides in the business that it takes to be a manager or an internet manager or finance manager. But the good news is that you can. You know, I started out as a salesperson, you know, and you know where I started here in Hampton Roads.
That's right.
And you know, 20 plus years later, you can get to where you want to be, but you have to set that course and you have to stay on it, you know, because it's not easy. It's difficult and there's bumps in the roads. So I would just say stay on your course, you know, plot it, stay on it. You might get blown off, steer back on and stay the course.
Right. We also talk about discipline and just that getting up in the morning, working out, getting up in the morning with the podcast and the readings and the review of your data, and then taking that and answering the bell all day at your dealership or in your leadership meetings. You know, how have you maintained, how did you gain that discipline? And then how have you maintained that discipline all these years? Because you can have that process, you can have this roadmap laid out for you, but if you're not disciplined to follow it every day like you have been, you know, you just kind of get off track. So, you know, where did discipline come from?
That's a good question.
And how do you maintain it?
I think through the years, I've worked with some really good, talented car people, and I've kind of taken a little piece from everybody and taken it and molded it into what works for me. The discipline, I wouldn't say I've always had that. You know, I mean, when I was younger, you know, I didn't really have the discipline. You know, that was something that I think you get with time as you grow and you age and you know, your vision kind of narrows and you become more goal focused and you have a family and you have people that depend on you. And then I think now where I'm at in my career, the discipline and the consistency comes from not only my family, but when I go in these stores and I see the people in the stores that are working and grinding and fighting hard for every bit of business we can get, those people count on me and the rest of leadership to make sure that, you know, we're paying attention to business and we're helping them make good decisions to operate their business and grow their business so they can grow and take care of their families. So I would say the people in the dealerships, the employees that I work with every day are what keeps me disciplined and driven, because we can't let them down. You know, it's, all of their families are depending on them, and that's a motivator.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. That's your family. You know,
right.
That's what
exactly.
you're passionate about. You know, we talked about it earlier about professional development and how you're developing the sales staff and management in the building. Then you also talked about podcasts. We've talked about professional development, previous conversations. You know, tell me just, again, even more intimately, like, you know, is it something that you do every day, or, you know, how do you stay on your game as a coach, as this, you know, one of the head leaders in Hall? You know, what are some of the things you do to really stay sharp in terms of your leadership and your speech, your knowledge of content, your competency? You know, what do you do?
constantly educate myself, right? So automotive news comes out. You have to constantly be looking at automotive news. You have to constantly be looking at what your competitors are doing. You have to constantly be looking at what the manufacturers are talking about and changing and how they're adapting. You have to constantly be looking at what the government's doing with rates and how the stock market's changing. And you have to constantly be looking at the used car market. There's so many things that it takes to stay on your game, right? I think having a regimented process and following that process every single day, kind of without fail, right? That's what you're going to do no matter what, rain, snow, sleet, whatever. You're going to get up and do those things, keeps you on task, right? And you're able to maintain. I think those are all things that you have to do as an executive to be successful.
Certainly. And just as a coach, as,
Right.
as you were saying, and I was like, that's coach. And especially the head coach, you're looking at the competition, looking at the landscape, and just looking at so many different other factors that are going on. Heath, we just appreciate this time. We appreciate your great leadership, appreciate everything you've done in the community, sports, auto, just special interest, whatever it may be. And we just can't thank you enough for this. We can't thank you enough as you're representing Hall Automotive for Hall's decades of accreditation with the BBB and its partnership. And as we kind of close out, tell us a little bit about what you think the accreditation means and how that's kind of helped you guys to be more valid and more credible in the marketplace being BBB accredited.
I think it's important. I think it's important for all businesses to have someone to help hold them accountable to the customer experience and the treatment of customers. And I think it's one of those things that like keeps the fabric of community together. Like, if we didn't have something like that, customers would send in an email and it would probably just get deleted and people would move on, But when you get that complaint from the BBB and you have, it's almost like you have that moderator or that arbitrator to say, hey, look, let's come to a fair agreement on whatever happened. It's important. It's important to have it. It's important for business to have some guardrails.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to customer experience.
And that trust, and we call ourselves the advancement engine of marketplace trust, right?
It's true.
And working with companies such as yourself have just made that so much easier because that culture, that corporate culture, or those beliefs just kind of resonate and match ours. So that's been amazing. We do thank you. We know you could be a coach just as much as a regional general manager because the mentality is the same, right? All these different things. I'm just kind of laughing, right? When I was used to be coaching, these are all the things I had to do as well. And I just hope that person's looking in on this and who admire you and who are just kind of tuning into the show would take some of these nuggets, take some of this wisdom, and be better leaders and better coaches and better business owners. So we certainly appreciate this, man.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck as you continue to move the company forward.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Okay.